Hi, kids. It's that time again for Josh's World, Season 3. We're back. I'm back. And the stream of consciousness showing, telling you a little bit more about me than you probably need to know, is here once again. Today, I have decided that we're going to come back. We're going to talk about something that carries a lot of weight. And that is legacy. Legacy. What is a legacy? I know there are books and poems and songs dedicated to legacy, what it means. And I think it's something that we all strive to have, especially when you approach a certain age. You stop believing you're immortal and you start thinking about what you're leaving behind in the world. What will remain after you're gone? I don't know who said it first, but the place I heard it said best was Hamilton. Legacies. Planting seeds in a garden you'll never get to see. And that's very true. You don't really get to see the fruits of your efforts for the most part. Especially when it comes to raising your kids. And you don't really understand the impact that you have on the world ever. Because it's really hard to pinpoint a certain Joe Schmo's actions and how they affect those around him. Yeah, there are some people that are really making an impact while they're still alive. And the effects of their actions are immediately felt and seen. But for the most part, most of us, legacy is a word we all strive for, but most of us will never get to fully appreciate what we leave behind. Now, I'm not trying to make this all about, death. I mean, after all, you can't spend your whole life thinking about death. I guess unless you're a mortician. I imagine they spend quite a bit of their life. You know, I digress. But I bring this topic today because as of this recording, if you're listening to it at a later date, it's August 1st. August 1st. It's my mom's birthday. For you old school Josh's World listeners, you know that this whole show really got started, Season 1, Episode 1, due to me trying to kind of try to cope with my mom's death. And, between you, me, and the airwaves, I'm still not sure I've really figured out how to process that. Someone that's been there for your entire life, gone. Depending on what you believe, you may or may not ever see them again. Now, when it comes to legacy, my mom had a legacy. A legacy that was only just starting to blossom through her interactions and her lessons that were taught to not only myself and my sister, I want to say something nice about my sister, but I can't. But she's great. Nobody record that and send it to her, please. We've got this rivalry thing going. I'd like to keep it, pure. But not only through her own children, but through her grandchildren. They knew her very well. And they were everything to her. There is even a point in time where I might have said that my kid's biggest advocate was my mom. But that's more of a representation of her personality and how no matter what, she was always balls to the walls. Figuratively speaking, of course. So today it's her birthday. Her legacy is living in the memories of everybody that knew her. And in this town, you'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of people that haven't heard of her. And that's a bit of an exaggeration, but everywhere my mom went, she made a mark. She made an impact. She was remembered. And it's really weird to continue to get messages like, hey, I haven't heard from your mom in a while. And you're like, ooh, how did they miss the news? I can only hope to leave such a legacy like she did, and I'm trying very hard to do that with my kids. I want them to remember me, not just for being dad, but for being a person. It's easy for children, even adult children, to sort of forget that their parents are people, and that before them, their parents were different people. And see, when you have kids, something fundamentally changes inside you, or at least I think it's supposed to. You switch from this self-centered, I'm the greatest thing ever kind of mode to now I have to protect my offspring at all costs. And that's kind of where I'm at. And you get so worried. You get so scared about all of the outside influences. You have to give them freedom, but you also have to know that when it's time to tighten up, you have to run a tight ship. And admittedly, sometimes I'm lacking in the latter. But the one thing I do know is I want to have a legacy that exceeds far past my home. And I guess that's why I do this. I talk into a microphone. Maybe it's a little bit therapeutic. Maybe it's just me doing what I need to do to kind of talk out, these crazy mixed up feelings in my head. But parenthood, it's going to be full of contradictions, and it's going to be full of surprises. There are other types of legacies out there. There are other things that people want to leave the world I know there are some that would grab for power as much as they can to make sure that they can leave the legacy they want. They want the world left a little bit more in their image than not. I can't say I'm like that. Although a statue or two of me wouldn't, kill anybody. But there are others that just want to create and leave their mark on the world and know that somebody out there is paying attention. Musicians, actors, they want a legacy full of inspiration. They want people to look at their performances and say, this fills me with an emotion. It doesn't really matter what the emotion is, because there's some things in art, especially, that make you angry. There's things that make you happy. And when the artist steps back and looks at the reaction to their work, all I can say is my legacy is I made people feel. I don't know if I'm the guy that's like, I want people to feel. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just kind of stream of consciousness, putting words out into the world. And I think that's going to be a big part of what my legacy may or may not be. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of me talking into a microphone that my kids, when I'm long gone, will be able to access and hear my voice. Unfortunately, because my mom was not the podcasty type, they don't have that. I don't have that. There's a few videos here and there, maybe a couple of audio recordings, but there is literally a vast library of me talking that I'm leaving to my kids for when I'm gone. And if that doesn't melt your mind, just thinking about the after, the world after you, and knowing that it's going to look exactly the same for 99% of the world. The day before you died, the day you died, the day after you died. Most of the world's just, it's not gonna flinch. That's not a bad thing. I think the key is, for legacy, impact the people you want to impact. Build your own little empire inside your neighborhood. A legacy doesn't have to be a 50-foot statue. It doesn't have to be a monument in the Capitol. It doesn't have to be a wall. Legacy can be your kids and the memories you leave behind. And now, because technology is so democratized when it comes to recording, I advise you, if you have kids, you know what, even if you don't have kids, but you plan on having kids, here's a nifty little idea. Start recording the messages. Let them know what you're like before you even meet your significant other that you're going to have these children with. It's like, hey, it's Dad. You don't exist yet, but I wanted you to know what I'm like before I have to be all dad on you. Look at me. I'm a cool dude. Look at my mohawk. Pretty rad. It's blue. I like punk rock. Kind of wish I did more of that, because that actually sounds like fun. But when it comes to the things that you leave behind, your legacy is always going to be the way people remember you. So, if I can get all gushy for a second, just remember to be kind. Be remembered for being kind. Don't get me wrong. Step up. Take care of your business when you need to take care of it. Because people remember that too. Oh, he was the sweetest person in the world until someone messed with him. Until someone messed with his kids. And leave messages. Even if you take 5 seconds to record into your phone. Hey, I love you. Just to be able to have something like that to hold on to forever would be an amazing legacy. Whew, weird. Okay, so that's going to do it for me. Josh's World, as if you're a long-time listener, you know, these aren't exactly long-form, we get in, get out, do our thing. But don't forget to listen to all the other shows on the Semicore Network. Wadcast, Matt and Josh make lists, should be coming back for episode 2 at some point in time. But here we are, season 3, episode 1 of Josh's World. This is going to be a regular Sunday thing, maybe 4 o'clock on Sunday. Why not? Maybe not. But it'll be available download wherever downloads, podcast can be downloaded. Spotify, if you want to just stream it. But I'm going to get out here. And I guess one last thing. Happy birthday, Mom.